He had worked his whole life for this moment. The house on the hill. The private gate with his name on it. Success carved from years of sacrifice and sleepless nights. But on this quiet evening, as he pulled into his own driveway, that success meant nothing. The guards at the gate didn't see a CEO, they saw a black man they thought didn't belong. They stopped him. For most of his life, Marcus Reed believed that hard work could silence prejudice. He built his empire from scratch, a small tech startup in a cramped apartment that grew into one of the fastest rising firms in the country. His story was the kind that inspired magazine covers and college speeches. The headlines called him a symbol of modern success. Every morning started the same. A run before dawn, black coffee, a call with his overseas team, then a quiet drive through the gated neighborhood he'd dreamed of living in since childhood. It was supposed that Friday evening was no different. The sun was dipping behind the hills, his car gliding toward the gate. The same security team he'd seen for months stood watch, their faces lit by the soft glow of the entry lights. Nothing seemed unusual, until the hesitation. Until the radio chatter that didn't stop. Marcus didn't know it yet, but the next few minutes would strip away everything he thought he understood about respect, power, and belief. Marcus slowed his car as he approached the iron gate, expecting the usual nod from security and the smooth lift of the barrier. But tonight, the guards didn't move. One of them, new face, unsure stance, held up a hand, signaling him to stop. Marcus rolled down his window, confusion tightening his chest. The guard's voice came through, firm but uneasy. "Sir, this area's restricted. Residents only." Marcus blinked. "I am a resident." He gestured toward the sprawling mansion beyond the gate. His mansion. But the guard's hand stayed raised, his eyes narrowing as if the sight of Marcus behind the wheel didn't match what he expected to see. Behind the guard, another man stepped closer. They whispered, glanced at the car, then back at Marcus. Their radios crackled. Minutes dragged on. Every second felt heavier than the last. Marcus reached for his ID, holding it out through the window, his driver's license, his company badge, even a utility bill from the same address. Proof of ownership wasn't enough. Not for them. "Stay in the car," one ordered. "We've called the homeowner." Marcus's heart sank. They called the homeowner. They didn't believe him. They thought he was trespassing on his own land. As the sun dipped below the horizon, neighbors began to drive past, slowing down just enough to watch. A few whispered. Others stared. That sting of humiliation, sharp and cold, pressed against his skin. For years, he'd been the man who made it. Now, in front of his own gate, he was just another black man being questioned. He felt anger rise, hot and shaking, but he kept his voice steady. "Call whoever you need. You'll see my name on the deed." Then came the flashing lights. A patrol car rolled up, security had called for backup. The same guards who were supposed to protect his home had escalated it. The officer stepped out, hand resting on his weapon, eyes scanning Marcus like a suspect. Marcus's pulse pounded. Was this really happening? He stayed still, careful, measured. He'd been here before, in boardrooms, airports, restaurants, each time forced to prove he belonged. But never here. Never at home. When the officer finally confirmed the truth, when the database showed Marcus Reed was the homeowner, the guards looked stunned. Mumbled apologies followed. One tried to laugh it off, another blamed miscommunication. Marcus said nothing. He just. The night air felt heavy as Marcus parked in his driveway, the hum of the engine fading into silence. Inside, the mansion was quiet, its glass walls reflecting a man who looked calm on the outside but was burning inside. Hours had passed since the incident, yet the echo of those words, "We've called the homeowner," kept looping in his mind. He sat there, staring at the gate from his window. That same gate he'd designed, paid for, and trusted to protect his family. But tonight, it had protected everyone from him. The weight of that thought cut deep. He opened his laptop. Every security report, every employee file, every shift log, The names of the men who had stopped him glowed on the screen. They weren't strangers. They were under his company's payroll. The same company whose success he had built with dignity and inclusion as his core values. He replayed the footage from the gate camera, watching the moment frame by frame. His car stopped. The hesitation. The guards exchanged looks. One hand near a weapon. The fear in their eyes, fear directed at him. Something inside him snapped. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about every quiet moment of doubt, every sideways glance, every door that opened slower for men who looked like him. This was the breaking point. If stories like this hit you, subscribe now so you never miss the next one. These real stories deserve to be. The next morning, Marcus arrived at corporate headquarters. No entourage. No press. Just silence and purpose. He called an emergency meeting with the board, HR, and the head of security operations. The same team that managed the contracts for his neighborhood security company. When he spoke, his voice didn't shake, it thundered. He laid out the incident, the footage, and the names. There was no yelling, no theatrics. Just truth. Cold, undeniable truth. The room was silent when he finished. Someone tried to speak. He raised a hand. They weren't protecting me, he said. As he left the boardroom, the whispers followed. Some called it extreme. Others called it necessary. Marcus didn't care. Back at his mansion, the gate stood open. Still. Silent. This time, it wasn't the barrier that defined him, it was the courage to face what happened there. But what Marcus didn't know yet was that his decision would ripple far beyond that gate, and force an entire community to confront the truth it had ignored. In the days that followed, the story spread faster than Marcus could have imagined. Someone had recorded the scene from their car, and within hours, the video hit social media. A black man, blocked from entering his own mansion. The irony was cruel, the reality undeniable. The internet didn't know that the man in the video wasn't just any homeowner, he was the CEO of the very company that employed those guards. Marcus never asked for the attention, but he didn't run from it either. For years, he'd stayed quiet, believing achievement was the loudest response to bias. But now, silence felt like surrender. He released a public statement, not filled with anger, but truth. He spoke about what it meant to be judged not by merit, but by color, even after reaching the highest levels of success. The world responded. News outlets covered the story. Community leaders called it a wake-up call. The security firm issued an apology.